morning and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Camnet Breakfast. I'm your usual host, Patrick Soko, and today, as usual, we have a fully packed program for you from now up to the hour of 9, and we are going to get the conversations going on various issues. Our topic of discussion is social, political, and economic reflection of the UPND'S 10 months in office. This is the topic of discussion, which we'll be focusing on, and you too, our dear viewers, you can give your perspective in terms of how is the UPND government fixing the economy 10 months down the line, and you can do that by joining us on our Facebook page and sharing with us your perspective on our topic of discussion, as well as calling the studio on the number that is on your screens. Just now, we go straight into Morning Booster with Isaac Machisa so that we can get the flexing our muscles as usual. Stay tuned.
Good morning, Camnet viewers, and welcome to our quick morning show, quick morning workout, and you will be able to benefit from everything we're doing. So remember, the key thing is just for us to help you be fit, exercise, burn some fats in the body, stay fit, and so that your executive functions are on the peak. Okay, as usual, start with a warm-up. Let's go. Just a warm up. A warm up. Warm up. And marching. Hip, 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 hip. Invite everybody in the house. Let's do it together. Everyone is invited. We're going to throw some punches today. Let's go. Last one. All right. You're all welcome once again. Just in case you're getting out of your blankets, join us quick. Let's exercise together. All right, I promise that we're going to do some punches today. Okay, let's start. Two each now. One each. Two each. One each. Two each. One each. Low punch now. Go! Stay low. Watch my legs. Stay there. And up. Punch up. We're going to mix them now. High punch and low punches. Ready? Let's go. Low punch. marching. Okay, you did well with your punches. We're gonna do a knee high and a kick now. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. Last one. 1, 2. Kick now. Let's go. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Back to knee. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Again. Knee high. Last knee. 1, 2. Kick now. If you feel your leg is heavy, let's do this. 1 and 2. Let's go, mama. 1, 2, 1, 2. High. Higher now. High. High. High now. Let's go. There you go. Kick. Can you hear me, Camnet team? Woo. Let's go. Let the blood flow. No more blood clot on your legs. Let's go. 1 and 2. And marching now. All right. Trust me, you did well with your punches and the knee highs and the kicks. Thank you so much. This is Isaac Matsa, your presenter. I'm gonna see you next week again as we do our quick morning show. Make sure that you don't miss this breakfast show. Thank you, and I sign out.
Well, there you have it. Isaac Machisa giving us a morning workout on our morning booster. Quite an important segment here on the Camnet breakfast. As usual, it does is based to ensure that helps us keep fit by doing that morning workout on a daily basis. You too can make sure that you do the same by following the stance that the drills that it does, and the drills are just simple. You can do them with your family by making sure that you just stay healthy, and these are quite good tips when it comes to us staying away from non-communicable diseases by doing that morning wake up or warm up, so that you are fit and to ensure that you keep your body active and warm. So I just hope that you'll be following that segment, and those of you who have been following it and you've been doing the drills with us here in the studios, so that we can contribute towards keeping Zambia healthy. Just now we go straight into another segment we call Health Corner, that is brought to you by the Medical Women Association of Zambia. The women have been doing a good job in terms of ensuring that they update us on various health issues, so that we can get abreast and how to keep our health as well. And today we have Dr. Mlenga. Let's listen.
Good morning, Camnet viewers. Welcome to this episode of The Breakfast Show. And on today's Health Corner, we're continuing our discussion on cystic fibrosis that was started on Monday. And we're going to be focusing on the management of cystic fibrosis. My name is Salam Lenga, coming to you from the Medical Women's Association of Zambia, and a medical doctor, a pediatric registrar serving at the University Teaching Hospital's Children's Hospital here in Lusaka. Starting from Monday, we've been discussing a chronic genetic condition known as cystic fibrosis, and we discussed that this is a condition that was in past years exclusive to, or known to be exclusive only to the Caucasians or of European descent. But now we do know that indigenous Black Africans or indigenous Africans can and are being diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. We discussed yesterday that cystic fibrosis is multisystemic, and even though the most complaints are usually about the respiratory system, it can affect various organs, different organs in our system, and therefore complications can be very diverse and severe or mild depending on the extent of this complication. We discussed that enzyme deficiency are some of the complications that arise from cystic fibrosis, recurrent chest infections, recurrent difficulties in malabsorption, and therefore this child is malnourished or failing to thrive. These are children, because of this pancreatic damage, can present with diabetes, and therefore they have this inability to absorb the glucose that they need to, and therefore they're always hyperglycemic. We talked about how in males, especially if they're diagnosed earlier in life or later in life, say in the adolescence or adult age, their usual complaint is sterility or infertility, and those are some of the complications of cystic fibrosis. So how do we manage cystic fibrosis? We do know that it is multisystemic, and therefore management is multidisciplinary. It will involve so many specialty doctors, because not only will you need it from the time of delivery if this child is diagnosed in utero, but you should also then expect that if this child is born in cystic fibrosis, from the time that they're born, they'll need their pediatrician, they're going to need their physician or doctors, they're going to need even the specialist doctors, the pulmonologist, the gastroenterologist, all the doctors that are involved with the different systems of the human body. It therefore is important to know that it is a chronic condition that can only be managed at the moment, because there is no known cure. It will be something that as parents would need to know about from the time that we are genetically counseled, if we're planning to have children. If we're documented to be carriers of this cystic fibrosis mutation, we know that there are variants of mutations that have been documented all over the world, and therefore karyotyping, genetic counseling comes into play for people who wish to know their status as far as cystic fibrosis is concerned, and their status as far as wanting to become parents. For a child or a person who's diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, it's therefore important then that we maintain good lung function, because the primary organ that is the main area of complaint is the respiratory system, which is the first to be compromised due to these recurrent chest infections, which can then also compromise your cardiac function, leading to cardiac failure or heart failure, which we know medically as cor pulmonale, because of your compromised lung function. So in management, we want to make sure that we're always clearing this mucus, which is thick and viscous due to this genetic condition that you have, and therefore we're always making sure that it's cleared, it is not affecting any other organ. If it is a newborn who needs to be cleared of this meconium ileus, that surgery is ultimately the option. If it cannot pass on the duct obstruction, will need to be cleared surgically, and that is why we're saying cystic fibrosis, being a multisystemic condition, will be managed by multiple disciplinaries in the medical field. Thank you for watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and this has been the Health Corner with me, Salam Lenga, from the University Teaching Hospital and the Medical Women's Association of Zambia. Have a good day.
There you have it, quite an elaborate aspect of cystic fibrosis, rather, quite a delicate condition, and the doctors were just helping us understand it and quite an elaborate response from Dr. Mlenga there, and I get to know what it means. I hope you too did manage to follow that important topic we were having today on the Camnet Breakfast Wednesday edition. And you can just get to listen to these topics every day on the same place, same time here on Camnet TV television breakfast to get informed on various health issues, and the doctors continue to do that justice on our behalf, and we are happy that they have been consistent, just like Isaac Machisa, in terms of ensuring that they keep us abreast on our health. And you too, our dear viewers, can just follow even our Facebook page to ensure that you get to listen to the conversations at your own time, because we do stream this breakfast show live. And just now we're going to look at how the kwacha is performing against other major convertible currencies. Well, the US dollar is buying at 17 kwacha 11 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 45 ngwe. The British pound is buying at 21 kwacha 52 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 94 ngwe. The euro is buying at 18 kwacha 89 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 26 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 10 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 12 ngwe. Those are your money markets, but they continue to fluctuate based depending on the bank which you are following, and based on the bank we've been following, those are your rates. And we are seeing that the kwacha has been trading on the 17 market, and it is behind the rise in fuel price, because we saw the Energy Regulation Board ERB increase the pump price by a margin. And just now talking about that aspect, we're going to zoom in the first story coming from ERB just to get to understand how it has been the adjustment, the recent adjustment. As you already know, we are still implementing the monthly review policy, which means that every month the Energy Regulation Board will be compelled to inform the nation regarding how the fuel pump price will be failing. And as of yesterday, the ERB did just do that, and we get to listen to that. And after that, we'll also play back to back another story coming from Bishop John Mambo, where he was talking about issues pertaining to gay rights. This has also been a topical issue pertaining to current affairs, the issue of gay rights. It has been topical for a while now, and let's hear also what Bishop John Mambo had to say on that very matter. So we zoom in two stories, the one for ERB and the one from Bishop John Mambo. You too, our dear viewers, can add your views on the stories that we're about to zoom in just now. Stay tuned.
The Energy Regulation Board has revised the pump price for petrol upwards by 80 ngwe per litre, while prices of diesel and kerosene remain unchanged. Petrol. The current price for petrol is 24 kwacha 15 ngwe. It now moves to 24 kwacha 95 ngwe. The price for low sulfur diesel is 25 kwacha 64 ngwe, and it remains at 25 kwacha 64 ngwe. Now is that the international pricing of petroleum products is relatively volatile, and if we are to ensure the dual role of allowing the businesses that are in that sector to operate with a fair return, as well as protect the public from unfair pricing, then the review of prices needs to be undertaken periodically. The question is really just what is the most prudent period. At the present time, our research indicates that a monthly review is about the correct period of time.
Zambia, like other democracies, has many political parties competing for favor from the voters. This, however, has often resulted in a lot of mudslinging, hence reaffirming opinions that politics is a dirty game. Recent weeks in the country have been filled with different sectors of society condemning the issue of gay rights after the Finnish and Swedish government flew flags affirming support for this community at their premises. Despite President Hakainde Hichilema clearly stating that the United Party for National Development UPND administration does not support gay rights, conversation about the same has not ceased.
I'm following what's going on in the country today. To say the New Dawn government is promoting lesbian rights, gay rights, that is not right. We've said it before in opposition and now in government that we do not support gay, lesbian rights.
A clergyman, Bishop John Mambo, has expressed shock that despite the president making it clear, the matter has continued to be politicized. He has therefore called for talk concerning the same to come to an end, stating that Zambia has more important topics to focus on.
So that is a buried dead. If you want it, thank God that no one can be arrested because of lies. I think those that are in authority, they must take each one that says government currently is doing this to court so that they prove it, because enough is enough. We are not moving forward. The countries that we liberated are developing, but as we keep on fighting on what was... Anton Baye was on Camnet yesterday. If you follow this statement, he's a spokesperson for the president. If there was something that they were hiding, would he have accepted that interview? It means they are harboring no hate in their hearts. We went through the storm, it is over, they have been forgiven, because true forgiveness is from God.
The clergyman has called for unity in the country, stating that politicization of serious matters is causing a huge divide. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Patrick, really?
What an interesting story there, Sharon.
Indeed. And the clergy there is just trying to put into perspective exactly what was going on in the country for some weeks.
You were calling me as Patrick, really? Why are you using that? Really? That's why you're asking me,
really? Yeah, so Bishop Mambo there just trying to put everything, to shed more light, actually, on what the president said. Wow.
Quite a controversial subject, Sharon.
Yes, indeed.
That has been topical for a while.
It's been a very, very controversial subject, and Zambia being a Christian nation, the church rose to the occasion to condemn this alleged issue, you know, and which was supposedly supported by some sections of society. But then the head of state was on record, is on record actually, and stood in the presence of many men of God, the nation, at the pulpit, you know, to denounce this and say Zambia remains a Christian nation and the laws regarding this remain as such. So really, the matter is a non-issue at the moment.
It's a non-issue. It's just that the church itself hasn't been proactive. When we talk about the church, talking about these matters, Sharon, the church has been sleeping. So if you ask me, my perspective is that we have church mother bodies, we have clergymen. When they see people who are men pretending to be women, for me, an extra sense tells you that there are a lot of hidden agendas that may be there, because why in the first place do you want to behave like a woman when you are a man? That's the starting point. First of all, these people are now flooding social media. Yes. And if you look at social media, young people now are having access to phones, and most people think it's fashionable.
Exactly.
And to behave strangely, to behave like a woman when you're a man, you know. So at the end of the day, it is such tendencies that tend to start changing the perception. If you see countries that have advanced in the same agenda, Sharon, they didn't start overnight.
No.
There was a build-up to the main event. So if Zambia is not certain, the main event is surely coming. If the church continues to sleep, by the time you realize, it will be the larger part of the population challenging the government over the existing laws. The same Christian laws you have, Sharon, they will be challenged because we are raising a generation, and yet this generation, at what extent are we injecting the right morals and values? And if we look at the disintegration of families, Sharon, we are seeing, especially in high density populated areas where we have a lot of child-headed homes. Who guides those children on how to live right? Who is going to instill the right information in these children, or these children? So these are the challenges that we need to be bracing ourselves for as a country. But if we don't prepare the foundation now,
it will be chaotic.
It will be chaotic because
future.
They say you can't teach a old dog new tricks. That's what they say.
That brings me to this, Patrick. Did you know that there is an association for Boer dogs or something? Did you know that?
I did not.
Did you follow that story for that woman?
Yes, I did.
Yes. So now the association has actually come to light, trying to educate people on raising these dogs. How to raise these dogs. They're actually breeding them. I just saw a post yesterday, and they were appearing on one of the radio stations talking about this. It's like, what? We have this? So you see how things, the Western world is integrating into our society and the things that we do. Because, a long time these dogs, really, they were a rare breed.
This is not a breed for Africa.
No.
And this is so, and if you see, according to those who understand this story, and those people who gave their opinion on these issues, the dogs were used by the Boers, the Dutch, those to discourage, to attack, obviously, especially in countries like South Africa, to safeguard their
territories.
Their territories using these dogs. They are trained to attack. They were trained to attack, and most of the victims of their attacks were Africans. So, but you see how we just get things blindly in Africa and bling them.
Yeah.
You see. So sometimes someone just wakes up and says because he sees a Muzungu taming a crocodile, and the next thing Sharon does is gets a crocodile and put it in a backyard swimming pool. And when a child is bitten, she's wondering what is happening.
You know?
But you don't know what processes should be taken and everything, all those things. By the time you realize, it is too late.
Indeed, Patrick, this is the
we also zoomed in the ERB, Sharon.
Yeah.
The marginal increase.
The marginal increase on
fuel, because they just did an 18 way there on petrol, and the ERB. Well, we've been talking about this for a while, Sharon, because we say it's quite not a sustainable measure.
No, it's not a sustainable measure, and the stakeholders have come out very strongly, and we hope that soon maybe government is headed for that direction of reviewing these prices, maybe once after 3 months or something like that. But we've seen stability in the prices, at least for the past 2 months. Even when it was announced the other month, I think there was no increase. Then last month, which is May, and as of yesterday, the last day of May, there was just an 18 way increase on one of the petroleum products. So maybe we are headed for that direction of just trying to stabilize and see if at all the reviews can be done after 3 months. However, you too can have your views on this show. Remember, as we always say, this is your platform aimed at giving you a voice so that you speak to the authority out there. You can call us and send us those text messages so that we can get interactive on this very important topic. Later on in the show, we'll be joined by NDC leader Saboy Mboela to just discuss a number of issues regarding Zambia's economic system, among other issues affecting the country.
Yes, quite interesting. And I remember I did predict on this very show that if there will be a marginal increase on fuel, it will be just a little. And the same marginal will be done systematically not to trigger any price
increase or price adjustment.
Yes, because if you see it, Sharon, when we had that reduction of a 2 kwacha, we saw the prices of transport. The bus fares remained static; they did not change. So even this increase will not in any way affect the bus fares because it is being used as a consurate on the previous adjustment. So there will be no increase in the price of bus fares because there is no justification that can warrant that at the moment. So just now we also try to zoom in another interesting story, Sharon. We had a story on the KK Conference Center.
Yes, indeed. Finally, it was being, I think it's done. Can we say it's done?
Yes.
We can say it's done. President Hakainde Hichilema was there touring the facility, checking with other stakeholders how beautiful it is. A masterpiece, I must say, Patrick, and brought a lot of debate on social media. You know, the 2.8 and the 1.8. It's whenever something like that happens, it's like, you know, they get agitated. You know, they start confronting each other. I saw some statements on social media to say. Others were saying the 2.8, the famous 2.8, were saying, congratulations, President Hakainde Hichilema, what. And then other people were like, this is a project that was started by ECL.
I know that.
And then somebody said, ECL, your vision has been launched by your younger brother, HH. She was like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But again, that's where we miss it as a country.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think development is initiated by
an individual.
On an individual
yes,
basis.
Yes.
But government is a system that continues to function even without an administration in place. For example, like the political leadership in place. Government remains functional. No wonder we have directors, permanent secretaries at these ministries. It remains functional at the time. So doesn't you don't necessarily need to take development personal. And this development, for instance, it is not initiated by anyone's pocket money.
No, it's public resources.
It's public resources. It is the government of China, Sharon, in this case, that helped Zambia to work on this masterpiece. Because they said, okay, Zambia is hosting the African Union and whatever. Then the China came on board as a partner. Then they did facilitate the financing of this project. So if you see China and Zambia, they have been having bilateral ties for a long time. And these are relations that stem from a long way. And the relation between Zambia and China is so strong, especially amongst other African countries. Zambia has strong ties with China over the years. If you trace from historically, they have the people behind our rail line. They were helping us with that as well. You see, but if you'd see sometimes a tension. Imagine saying that the new administration is not in support of China, but you know all those are just fake narratives that usually emerge.
Exactly.
But if you saw, the president has been categorical to say we cannot do away with China because it remains a partner to Zambia.
Indeed.
And you saw yesterday the president did have a conversation with Xi Jinping on various bilateral ties between the two countries, and we also saw the commissioning of the same facility by the Chinese embassy as well as the Republican president Hakainde Hichilema there. And Isia, was he in attendance as well?
No, I didn't see him there unless otherwise. But anyways, for now, let's look at that story, and thereafter we continue the conversation. Good morning.
This conference facility and others will contribute to Zambia's vision of becoming a hub for international conferences and meetings in our region and our continent. We are determined to attract more meetings, more conferences to be hosted here in this country. Deliberately so, because hosting of international conferences is part of our strategy to grow our economy, to create jobs for the youth that put us in office, for the women that work very hard against a hostile environment to deliver us into office, and to market our country's peace. Thank you, women. Thank you, the youth.
We want to market our country's peace. Zambia is a special country.
Unity and enhances Zambia's national image. I believe that the success of this project embodies three precious spirits. First, the spirit of China-Zambia traditional friendship. Our friendship was established by the leaders of older generation of the two countries, including Chairman Mao Zedong and President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, and has been carried forward from generation to generation. 4 hours ago, His Excellency President Xi Jinping had a successful phone conversation with His Excellency President Hichilema, which has charted the course for China-Zambia relations to develop going forward. Zambia is the first country in Southern Africa to establish diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China. The two countries have always treated each other as equals with respect and have given each other firm support on core interests and major concerns. We have forged a spirit of China-Zambia friendship that shares will and.
It's good to see Woma Inonga Patrick out there gracing the occasion as well. She made an appearance, and it's very interesting. You were asking about Istio. I didn't see him, but I've seen Woma Inonga was seated there aggressively, as she has always done, you know, like a lousy queen. In case you are not aware, Woma Inonga was the vice president, immediate vice president of the Republic of Zambia, and she was part of that program, and because obviously she was invited, and she was part of the administration that started this program, so seeing it reach this level obviously was a wow to her and a marvel, and she needed to just be in attendance. For me, I think President Hakainde has been magnanimous enough sometimes to look beyond petty politics. Yes. Much as the followers of the 1.8 sometimes may be agitated, even sometimes the followers of the 2.8 may be agitated, Sharon, but the president always continues to demonstrate that there is more than politics. So you know, sometimes there's more to life, because if you see this coexistence, you know, the previous administration, you have to continue on the projects that are progressive. Exactly. For example, they didn't want to just take away all the credit to say, no, we've done that, we've done ABCD, and you see, you just can't say you've done that, because this project was started under the previous administration, being the PF, and we saw various dignitaries being represented from the PF, like Madam Inonge Wina, like you said. She was the vice president, an elected vice president, for that matter, using the new constitution, Sharon. She's just equivalent to ECL, if you, in terms of the rankings, in terms of that, she still remains an icon for the nation. Exactly. And she has to continue still providing strategic guidance. And I hope they are still in touch with our counterpart, Mtarina Romango, so that, you know, you always have to share ideas. Yes. To say, okay, but how do you manage the pressure of the office? Exactly. Something comes like that. The chicken run. You know. So you have to just. Why do you decide to choke me? No, because you know, and you know how people are. We talk a lot. So literally, you need to know how to, and we keep learning every day. So it's always good to go back to history, how they did certain things. Not everything is bad, obviously, and experience plays an important role in the governance of this country. So really, it's never a bad idea to just go and consult on some of the issues. Not everything, of course, because maybe they differ in ideologies, but the end result is ensuring that development is attained at the end of the day. So really, maybe Mutalela Lumango may go back to say, okay, Ma, how do you do this?
Situation.
Have this issue. Yes.
How did you manage this?
Yeah,
it's not a chicken run like Sharon is putting it. Yeah, very interesting. And yeah, like you say, Sharon, no man is an island and everything.
No.
So there's more. So sometimes don't it's just politics, because the end result of politics, like you say, is about us seeing development.
Yes.
We want to see a well-transformed Zambia where people are satisfied in all angles. And just like our topic of discussion, looking at social, political and economic issues as we are reflecting on the 10 months of the UPND governance. Indeed. And these are the issues that we are looking at. And you too, our dear viewers, can add your perspective on even on that story pertaining to the commissioning of KK Conference Center. The KK Conference Center, Sharon, comes about because Zambia will be in this year in July should be hosting the African Union meeting summit. And over the weekend, President Kande Chema, through the Minister of Home Affairs, Jack Mwimbu, did indicate that Zambia is ready to host that prestigious event that is going to bring various heads of state into Zambia. And this is quite a mammoth task. And how we just see the Zambian journalists. Are you preparing yourself to cover that event? We are prepared
to cover that event, Patrick. We're always prepared to cover these events. And
I like the always.
Always. It's our job. The first thing to always being ready for something is to understand what it is. So I understand personally what my job entails. So if I understand that, I'm going to be ready. Equally yourself, you understand what your job is. I don't need to come to you and explain to you, say, no, but as a journalist, you need to do, no, you've passed that level. You understand what you need to do, and therefore you are ready. Even if you're told today to say, okay, let's go to Ghana. You're going to just get your passport and off you go, because you know exactly what your job entails. You always have to be ready, and therefore we are very ready to cover this event, to bring to you information. And as Camnet TV, we never disappoint when it comes to such things.
Yes.
We'll give you the pre, during, and the post to see how the whole event will be carried out in this new facility. I mean, it's a marvel.
Interesting, because I understand the major issues that come out of the African Union border on continental trade, as well as we are also talking about Agenda 2063, and which talks about quite a number of issues that are bringing Africa as one. And we are seeing those economic transformations unfolding, Sharon, and we have seen that, for instance, the Continental Free Trade Area is in its operational phase, though trade is yet to take place under that. We are also looking at the Africa passport, where Sharon should just have one passport that can take her everywhere. Anyway. So, but for now, the passports we are having is they are Commonwealth passports. Like for Zambia, most of them, you'd find that where you would be able to attend to countries that are members of the Commonwealth. Other than that, sometimes you need a visa and those arrangements. But what the single African passport wants to achieve is to curtail those visa restrictions. If Sharon wants to travel to Egypt, she doesn't need freely to get a visa. She just goes with a passport. She just produces it by the airport.
Yes, and it's done.
I'm here.
And it's done. It's done. The whole idea, obviously, of this is to ensure that Africa is more united than ever. Africa is able to do business as easy as it can, because we have difficulties in going to other countries. For example, Egypt, it's got a lot of things that come to Zambia. We import a lot of things from Egypt, Patrick. If you were to check, even biscuits, we've got a lot of Egyptian biscuits in one of the supermarkets. I'll take you there.
Okay.
Such that you can't even. But then the danger is, I know you business reporters will start looking at the issues of branding, because they are named, they are written in Egyptian language. You can't even know whether biscuit, salty, sugar.
So you've been covering up?
No, I've not been covering up. I've been enjoying the biscuits.
Just because you're enjoying the biscuits and you don't want to engage CCPC. Anyway,
no. But these are things that we've reported before, and, obviously. But it still continues happening. So it's a loose thing that is happening from the part of the Commission to consistently check and see what is happening in these shops. But then when you have one passport covering all these countries, it'll be easier for countries to do business. Because, you know, in Zambia, we have a lot of people that do business internationally. They you know, they move around. But the biggest partner we have for business is South Africa.
For Zambia,
For
yes.
Zambia and Botswana. If it's Congo, kula wako fe, nikasombale safie, chapwa, taking tomatoes, but obviously
and as a transit,
as a transit town. But there are many things that we can do with this. It will actually be a plus, and we surely hope that when that summit is held, conclusive decisions will be made towards this, among other issues that will unite the African continent even more.
Interesting. Just now we tried to zoom in another interesting story that is coming from the NDC, and we have Savoy Mbwela talking about the issues pertaining to Obed Kasongo, who was the member of the NDC and was attacked during the political activities in Ron constituency. But that issue had vanished and it has resurfaced. We have seen various officials from the United Party for National Development, UPND, reporting possible witnesses and suspects. Let's get to listen to that. The death of Obed Kasongo is among political events that have left the country shocked at the levels of intolerance among political players, especially in the previous administration. There has been accusation and counter-accusation on the matter, with several fingers pointing at the Kabushi lawmaker, Bowman Lusambo, among others. The matter had vanished as the post-mortem report that was released by officials revealed that Mr. Kasongo died from malaria and not beatings. However, the matter has been restarted, with some United Party for National Development officials taking an interest by reporting would-be suspects or witnesses to the case. The Zambia police also confirmed that an inquest has been opened on the matter. And Tuesday, 31st May 2022, National Democratic Congress President Savoy Mbwela informed the press that they will not rest until justice is served, saying there are many witnesses who are ready to testify on the matter.
Oh, Obed case, trust me, the dockets are there. And the people from NDC, when the inquest is opened by the police, let me even make this point very clear. When the inquest is opened by the police, they should inform us. We have a whole list of witnesses, more than 10 witnesses that can come out and testify, because that car was full. There were people in front, there were people behind. You know, even the person that was actually driving the car, that was Obed's brother-in-law, right? Yeah, brother-in-law. He was even badly injured as well. Badly injured, you know. So all those people, we made sure they got police reports and they got, medical reports. They have them. So now that it's time to get justice, nobody should think, maybe this is happening, maybe no. And also even our friends from the PF, they should not think that by so doing we're fighting them, or, you know, not fighting anyone. We are not fighting anyone. For us, all we want is justice.
She says the party does not need to seek permission of the family pertaining to the death of Mr. Kasongo, because it is now a matter of national interest.
No wonder we are happy with the inquest of the police that they're talking about, because them now they're going to exhume the body and start fresh investigations. Are you getting the point? So that we start challenging the same post-mortem results that we had challenged earlier on, you know. So it has to start from there. And then the second thing is this: when it comes to murder, murder is not a civil case where I have to decide or you have to decide whether it goes that route or that route. Murder is a criminal offense. So it's the state against the people that kill a person. So if it's going to be a murder case in that regard, it does not matter what the family says, by the way. It won't matter, let me say that, because it will be the state, the Zambian people, saying that these people killed a person and we are interested in this as a state, as a people of this country, you know. But at that time now, the family also, I'm sure, they'll feel very, very happy because justice would have died.
Well, they say crimes may be secret, but they are not secure. For now, we can only wait and see where the wheels of justice will land us. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka. Well, there you have it, a story coming from the NDC Sharon. It has been taking a various twists and various stakeholders commenting on different perspectives. We also saw the PF aspiring president did come out. We also seen the police come out on this issue. Various stakeholders have been commenting on this issue.
Indeed, Patrick, one of the funny parts or funny twist of the story is that when Shimbakambwili was on the other side, that time was in opposition, the Patriotic Front was ruling. I think he came out strongly at some point to say this person was killed due to died out of the attacks, what. And then now he changed and said this man died of malaria. Now the bigger question is, since when did Shimbakambwili become a lab
so according to him, he said that his response was based on the report was issued by the doctors then, because they said when we pressed the officials to release the medical report, they said after a postmortem the resolution was that it was malaria. But there's also someone was saying that even doing the postmortem was not an interest of authorities at the time. They didn't want to do anything on that case. They didn't want even to receive reports on that case, Sharon, to say, I've been beaten from this fracas. They were not receiving those reports. But you see, they say, Umulandu Taubola. Now, this case has resurfaced and things have to be redone. And there have been also possibilities of probably exhuming the body
and
to see.
do another postmortem just to see exactly what caused the death of Obed Kasongo. It's a story that has resurfaced and it's being talked about by many people. And Savoy Mboela, the NDC leader, clearly stated yesterday, addressing the press, to say we have about 10 witnesses that can actually stand in court and say this is exactly what happened, and narrate to the courtroom and tell the Zambian people exactly what happened, because as at then they couldn't, but they were eyewitnesses. And she made it also very clear, challenging Rene Hajombwe, to say, you cannot ask me to go and testify in court because I was not a witness. I'm not a witness. I was not at the scene of the incident, and therefore I don't know exactly what happened. But we've got people that can come out and explain to the courts or to the authority exactly what happened. Patrick, you are aware that when was alleging that Savoy will be reported also, and Shimbakambwili also should go there and testify, you know. But then Savoy was very clear and categorical yesterday to say Shimbakambwili and me, Savoy Mboela, were not at the scene of the incident, and therefore we cannot be witnesses. But she's ready to produce 10 of those witnesses. So we wait and see what happens.
Yeah, quite an interesting story, Sharon, there that we have that pertains to crime, especially in the political fraternity. We just hope that, you know, all these issues we are also bordering on the issues of the Public Order Act, where it hasn't been fairly enforced. And we are seeing that the new Dawn administration wants to change the narrative. They want to amend the Public Order Act. And that's why stakeholders have been saying that the government should go beyond saying that we need to review the Public Order Act and act on it, because this same law was subject of discussion under the MMD administration.
It's been.
Under the PF administration.
And now
we have the UPND administration. So, but the previous administrations have not done anything to it, because this was an archaic law, Sharon, that was used to just disadvantage Zambians during the colonial era. And we just hope that this time around the Public Order Act will be amended accordingly. So we are going to zoom in a story that is coming from the courts, and that is the famous story of the 51 houses. This story has been coming, and we just get an update to it so that we can get the conversation. On the other side, you can call us and give us your perspective regarding the stories that we've been zooming in. Stay tuned.
An acting senior registrar in the Ministry of Lands, Messim Konde 36, has testified in the 51 infamous houses case before Friday Samaundu that on 27th January 2021, she was approached by SEC to issue a statement relating to property number L19897M and L19897MA. She says it was discovered that there was a power of attorney registered in 2017 from Yusuf Muhammad Ishmael to Lombebwalia and Associates and not Loyana on the property number L19987MA, and there was one power of attorney registered between Patel Ahmed Yaqub and Zaki Hussein Kankara. In her testimony, she alleged that Ishmael Yusuf is still the title holder of the remaining extent of L19987M, and L19987MA is still registered under Yaqub Ahmed Patel. Meanwhile, another witness, Kambali Kalionto, testified that he spoke on phone with one of the alleged owners of the infamous 51 houses in Lusaka's Chalala area before renting one of the houses. When the matter came up for continuation of trial, Kalionto was challenged to state whether he had ever spoken to the two accused persons physically. In response, the witness alleged that he did not speak to the suspects physically, but to a Susan Sinkala on phone. He told the court that he was given to sign a tenant's agreement which had the name Susan Sinkala on it, and payment for rentals were made to a Mr. Bruce Shikawa, who used to make payments for the house. Shikawa, in his testimony, accepted making the payments for the rentals and alleged that the owner of the house was Charlie Chitala, and that his wife Susan Sinkala was the one in charge. In this matter, Charles Loyana and his wife Susan Loyana are charged with concealing and being in possession of properties suspected to be proceeds of crime amounting to about 37.9 million kwacha. Lusaka Magistrate Fides Hamaundu has adjourned the matter to 1st June 2022 for continuation of trial. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News. The need to reduce cases of gender-based violence, which has been on the increase, cannot be overlooked, as the Zambia police statistics showed a record of 21,000 cases recorded alone in 2021. Speaking during the launch of the Understanding Online Gender-Based Violence GBV in Southern Africa Tuesday, Minister of Science and Technology Felix Mutati acknowledged the need for stakeholders to take advantage of the digital space and reduce the GBV cases in the country. Mr. Mutati, however, advised stakeholders to take interest in formulating policies that aim at alleviating the effects of GBV, and expressed happiness that once various policies are reviewed, such as the Cybersecurity Act of 2021, cases of GBV in the country may see a reduction.
You can't cure what you don't know. In effect, saying, in the absence of data, in the absence of evidence, it will be difficult as a country, Zambia, for us to tackle and address this particular issue. And my colleagues from Gender Division also said last year we had over 21,000 cases in Zambia of gender-based violence. I think all this indicate that we have a real problem that we must address. Let me write down the protocols that have.
And Gender Division Permanent Secretary Mainga Kabika, who was represented by Assistant Director in the Office of the Vice President, Gender Division Austin Mokiswamba, noted that women have been abused online, especially during the 2021 general election.
That was covered. As you may know, the internet is borderless, and it helps to understand this phenomenon from a regional perspective. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, gender-based violence takes many forms. The Zambia Police notes that in 2021, Zambia recorded a total of 20,540 cases of physical gender-based violence countrywide. Out of these cases, over 4,000 were girls, while over 12,000 were women. While we have seen a reduction in the number of physical gender-based violence cases over the years, increasingly we are seeing that gender-based violence is now being perpetuated using online platforms, and this violence transcends to the offline space.
Meanwhile, public policy lead for Southern Africa at Meta, Nomondego Kheka Seopo, hoped that efforts to make the digital space will be safe to safeguarding the rights of women using ICT tools.
All aggravated by the internet, social media, and the use of ICTs. We remain concerned by the developing trends regarding the use of ICTs to perpetuate harm.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
There you have it. We were zooming in some of the trending stories that were in the news as of yesterday, and quite interesting stories, and we're zooming that story on gender-based violence, and we're looking at that story pertaining to Felix Mutati, who's the Minister of Science and Technology, talking about how social media has also been a part, especially in terms of contributing towards GBV. But however, we have also seen that there are organizations on social media that are trying to make strides to help curb the vice. And just now, it is the right time when we have our interview, and our guest is in the studio, and she is the president for the National Democratic Congress, Savoy Imbwela. Welcome to the program, madam.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
We are happy that you made it.
Thank you.
Interesting.
You look so bright.
Orange.
Is it strategic?
Well,
strategic.
Orange is NGC. So
yes, it's
okay.
strategic.
Yes.
The message is clear. It's very clear.
Interesting. We are getting the conversation going, and we are going to just find out this from you as a political party. First of all, we are also looking at the social, political, and economic aspects of the 10 months in office of the United Party for National Development, UPND. When there were 6, we were saying we still need a little bit more of time. When there were 7, we said the same thing. 10 months, is it enough now to provide a genuine verdict regarding how they have fared this far?
Well, certainly it is enough time. And I think for some of us, I think after 3-4 months, we did give an indication to say we're not seeing things getting any better, because where you are going, you have to start from somewhere. So if people are failing to start, or the starting is all shaky and everything, it gives a lot of doubts, so hope was really taken away from some of us at a very, very early stage. The only thing that they have, and they still have, is time. This is just the first year. They have a whole 5-year mandate. But the problem is this: they seem to be on such a slow start. So we are really worried if they're ever going to start. I gave examples of, the appointments. Just to appoint the cabinet was a problem. It took so long. We had to start talking as the opposition to appoint DCs, permanent secretaries, ambassadors. 10 months later, they have still not managed to appoint ambassadors. When they came to say, we're going to give you the list of ambassadors, first of all, they appointed 1 ambassador, then about 2-3 ambassadors. Now we're waiting for the entire list of ambassadors. So it's really, really so shocking that we're moving in this direction. And look at the issue of CDF, and they did say that they're going to distribute CDF, and they said they've taken the money to the constituencies. Well, I hope they have, because it's so difficult, They gave people CDF, and they've put guidelines which are so difficult, it makes it practically impossible to access the money. So some of us have been doubting to say, is the money really there? Why are they making the guidelines so difficult? So we have a situation whereby money may even end up going back, whereby money for the first and second quarter is not being accessed by the communities.
Are you in any means trying to tell us that you think the guidelines are just made to prevent the implementation of the CDF, considering that probably government may not have the money?
That's my strict and honest opinion. That's my suspicion. Because, Patrick, it doesn't make sense that you get a baby, a 5-month-old baby. No, maybe a 5-month-old baby is too much. Like a 2-year-old baby. Okay? You give a baby food, and then you put the food on the roof and say, come and get. You don't even put a ladder. The least you can do is put a ladder to say, "Kamwana can say kakwele that carriage." You get the point. But you're there on top of the roof, then you've got food in your hands, and you're telling the baby, you get the child, come and get this food. Are you sure you want the baby to eat? No. If you want the baby to eat, maybe if the baby, a 2-year-old baby is there, you can sit here and say, the food is here, come and eat. You get the point. So what the UPND has done right now is to give us, as communities, food. And then they've gone very far, and they've not put a ladder there. If they had the right guidelines or the right processes to access the CDF, by now people will be accessing that money, and a lot of things will be happening. And they're forgetting the fact that they decentralized so much in terms of what needs to be done at a constituency level, be it in terms of education, in terms of health and everything. So have they ever sat down to think that all this time, when this money is not being accessed by these constituencies, what is really happening there? In terms of education, in terms of health, people's livelihoods, what exactly is happening? So this, I think, to me gives me and us, you know, as an NDC and just members of the public out there, it gives us great concern, you know, and great worry to say what really is going on. If they really don't have the money, they should say so, you know, and if the money is there, let it be easy, you know. Processes, yes, are there to protect a lot of things, including the fact that you don't want corruption, want people to do the right projects and all those things. Yes, but processes are not there to stop people from accessing the money. No, they are there to ensure that the people that get the money for the right reasons and use that money for the reasons that they said they're going to do that.
CDF is public money. As the NDC, obviously you offer checks and balances to the government. How much are you doing to ensure that people are enlightened of these processes of accessing resources?
What we're doing is that we've been talking about it, interviews like these ones and in communities, you know. And for me, I've actually even gone a step further and I've been asking even individual MPs to say, what exactly should we do? You know, do we need to come to the communities and talk to the people directly? What should we do? But even the MPs have been expressing concern to say the problem is A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B. Look at these things. You get the point. And I'm sure you remember that even the time when they started, the whole reason of taking CDF to the constituencies and such great amounts was to decentralize. You know, decentralization was not started by the UPND. It was started, I think, by the MMD, if anything. MMD, but they were slow to implement because they had to do the right things. PF also started. UPND came in and just did it abruptly. You know, they just did it abruptly. 1 minute the money is this side, the next minute the money has been, all of it has been taken the other side, you know. But for us as the NDC, and I think every concerned citizen out there, the problem that we have is this: they took money to the constituencies before taking government there, if I should use that word, before sending proper structures there, you know, before sending power there, you know. How do you take such amounts of money if there are not people to really administer, you know, that kind of money? So that is where the whole problem started. And you saw that they said because of decentralization, people from Kaputa, from Shangombo, from wherever, know their problems better than the people from Lusaka, which is the whole essence of decentralization, and a very, very good point. You have to make people in their various places decide what development looks like to them and what it should be. Yes, but what has happened is that they did say that, and they said the 25.7 million kwacha was going to go to the constituencies. So those people, if you're really decentralizing, they have to decide, okay, we want a school, we want a road, we want a bridge, whatever it is. They decide and they approve. They have changed again. So projects again will be approved by the minister, you know. So how do you make the minister approve a project in Chipata or Shangombo or Kaputa? You make him approve in Lusaka. Already you're saying that it's in that was development there. Yeah, because but when you talk about centralization, it's the people saying this is the problem we have and this is what we want. So if you're going to bring again process of bring back the process of approval to Lusaka, then we have not done anything. So why take money and then bring back the power to Lusaka? You know, what you should do is take back both the money and the power there. But like we said, they already made that mistake, because what it should have done was first of all build the capacities in the various constituencies, take the right resources there before they could have done that. You can't increase CDA from 1.6 million all the way to 25.7. That's too much.
Interesting.
That's too much.
In case you are just joining us, you are watching the Camnet Breakfast with me, Patrick Soko, and Sharon Kalimbula, and in studio we have the NDC President, Savoy Imbwela. You too, dear viewers, can add your perspective on the matter. And just now I want to also find out, Madam President, on how would you rate the political environment under the UPND administration, and your take, considering that on the trending issue of arresting opposition political parties in far-flying areas beyond Lusaka.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. The UPND has its own advantages and its own disadvantages. The advantages are that, one, the issue of cadarism, or they tried as much as possible to reduce it. They have not eliminated it, but they've reduced it. The issue of political violence has lessened, you know, that's a fact. But the issue of intolerance, for me, I can even say the issue of intolerance has heightened, you know. And when I started saying this some few months ago, people thought I was joking, you know. This is exactly what it means. You know, with the PF, the good thing with the PF is that the cadres were outside and they were visible and you could see them. In government, you can say this is a government institution. These are officers. These are the cadres. The cadres were outside. To them, they didn't want that institutional power. What they wanted was just money and everything. With UPND, you've got cadres hiding in government. You know, that is a situation that has happened. So there's these things that are happening. Number one, the issue of the police that you have talked about, what is this, opposition political leaders being reported
in areas they don't
exactly. You know, so this is just an example of that intolerance that some of us experience at an institutional level on a daily basis. You know, they've become so intolerant to political leaders. So apart from what you are seeing, what is visible to the public about what they are doing and reporting opposition leaders all over, what is happening is that the UPND wants as much as possible to destroy political parties. You know, the PF's intolerance. You were there as political parties, but you know, you could mix at certain levels, could not mix at certain levels. With UPND, to them, it's about destroying the political parties.
But how are they destroying?
That's what I wanted to talk about. Number one.
You seem so sure about it, and we're interested to know how.
Exactly. Number one, it's an issue of by-elections. Are you getting the point? Mm-hmm. The PF, like I said, will be violent with the by-elections or do whatever it takes that the by-elections go in a certain way. For the UPND, they'll just make sure that you don't even participate to begin with. Are you getting the point? They're doing certain things with institutions that are responsible for some of these things to ensure that certain people don't participate in certain things. Are you getting the point? Mm-hmm. They would go after you at an institutional level. You know, whereby the public are not able to see that, but they do everything possible. I'm sure you saw what happened with the DP and the Kawata by-elections, when some of us came out in the open. I'm sure people do not understand why, as an NDC member, I came out so strongly over the DP issue. Because I've started telling people to say, if we let things which are happening to DP now be treated as a party issue, trust me, after DP to be a socialist party, because they went after NDC. NDC was emerging as that biggest opposition in the party, the third force in the on the Zambian political scene and everything, and they went after it. You get the point. From there, it was what? The DP that was being targeted. You know. Secondly, thirdly, I was even saying next it will be the socialists. Was the socialists in terms of elections and everything they're doing very well. Mm-hmm. So as political parties, we cannot allow this. And I'm sure you saw that is even the reason why we had that joint press conference as opposition political party leaders and made that clear statement to say we're not going to let the government do this to us as opposition political parties. There's an issue again of, let's say, simple things like invitations. When the PF was in government, they would invite everyone, including the UPND, who were their number one enemy. Are you getting the point? UPND and PF up to now, I think they are number one enemies of each other. But when it came to public events, because they knew to say this is a political party, they would invite them and everybody else, and the UPND would just deny on their own. You know, they would deny on their own. What the UPND has done right now, even just invitations to public events, very shocking. I'm sure you saw even just a few days ago, after Africa Freedom Day, there's a picture which I put on my Facebook page, and I said, if you don't understand what is wrong, if you don't understand Zambian politics, you won't understand what is wrong with this picture, you know? So, just to explain to the people that could have seen my post, what was wrong with that picture is that the so-called opposition political party leaders that were there are the friendly forces, if I should say that. They got their own alliance partners and people that would never say anything about the UPND, and those are the people they invite for events. No, that's what the public events are there for. Because as opposition political party leaders, normally we're on opposite side, you say all these things and everything, but you use that opportunity now to show the public to say, we speak differently because we have different ideologies, but we're not enemies, you know? So that's a time when opposition party leaders come together. But with the UPND, when that time comes, they don't want to invite. I think for me, even so, all these other invitations, I've not even been talking about it. The only one I complained about, I'm sure you could have seen, was Women's Day. Yes. Where I said, I'm a woman president of a political party. The least you should have done, any other invitations, yes, Women's Day. You should have just, you know, whatever bitterness you have or whatever issues you have with opposition political parties, this one just, you could have said, okay, among us the people we invite on this day will be this one, Savoy from the NDC because she's a woman leader, Chishala Kateka because she's also a woman leader, these ones and that's, you know, but they pick here and there. And we do have the events, what do you call it, office of events at cabinet office. What would happen in the past is that those are the people that are in charge of public events. When there's a public event, they have a list of registered political parties in this country, all of them, and they'll invite all of them. You decide on whether you want to go or not. You know, so right now, even if you look at leaders right now, because we do have a WhatsApp group where all parties, political party leaders are, with presidents and SGs and everything, the number one complaint why has just inviting opposition parties become a problem, you know? And I remember last time when the Freedoms, they even told them to say, guys, stop even complaining about this. You'll be poisoned. You know? If people don't want to chill with you, leave them. You know, because if you're going to be forcing yourself to be with them, then there's a problem. You know, they don't want. So at the end of the day, things will happen to you. So don't. So for me, like I've said, only because I want to give an example to show you the extent of certain things which are happening, which the public may not be privy to. Because when we start talking about these issues, if had we complained, for example, after the day, there could have been, oh, they are pets. You should know even when parties. Leaders mostly go to such events. They don't even eat.
They don't even eat, yes.
They don't even eat, you know what I mean? It's a gathering that you want, and you know, the talking and everything. That's a social event part of it. You get the point.
Yes.
But for UPND, it's becoming very difficult, you know. Then the last example I'll give you when I talk about this intolerance, which is happening right now, which the public is not aware of. We were trying to do our annual returns just some 2 months ago. It was very difficult. It was very difficult. I'm happy that when I called the minister and the PS and whatever the others, they came in and they handled the matter very well. Otherwise, by now you could have seen that NDC had gone to Anti-Corruption Commission, you know, because I'm sure you know that one of the PSs, Home Affairs has got two PSs. One of them is a person that was party to the problem in the NDC.
You count up.
Yes, Mr. Kafumba, you get the point.
They are Kafumba
exactly. So just taking Mr. Kafumba to Home Affairs, we knew that here there would be a problem, you know. So just doing annual returns, and the political party is about annual returns, okay? So we went to do our annual returns and they refused. And their situation, their reason rather was that you people are in court, you can't do annual returns. I was like, are you kidding me or what? Number one, you know that NDC has always been in court, unfortunately, you know, because the first person that took us to court was Mwenyam Singh. The second person, Mr. Kafumba. You know, somebody who's now a civil servant, who's now your boss right here. So even the matter in court right now, you're even supposed to throw it away. It's neither here nor there.
Exactly.
Yes. So we explained to them to say, we have always been in court, but we've never been disallowed to do annual returns. And the political party is all about the annual returns. You don't do annual returns, you're deregistered. You get the point? And that's the issue even with the other camp, if I should call them that, or the rebels. To them, even the issues of annual returns, them, they don't even care. Them, they're just existing to cause confusion in the public. But for us,
so they haven't been coming to pay the
no, they can't. How can they even go and pay annual returns? They don't even know where to pay annual returns from, you know? So, yeah, so it was a bit problematic. So we went to the chief registrar's office. We're like, we can't do it. No, her reasoning was just so bad. So we're like, okay, fine, we're going to do it online. If we can't do it physically here, we'll do it online. Because we're now remaining like 2 days deadline. You know, so we panicked and everything. And thank God for e-government. Because we did go now to the website and we did the annual returns online. And that's what brought, that's what made us beat the deadline. Then after that, we said, you know what, if we call the other PS, whatever, chief registrar, everything is in on it. So I called the minister. I was like, this is what is going on at your ministry. Okay, we had a meeting with the minister, explained to him. To be honest with you, he was very shocked. And that is why sometimes, again, you have to deal with things with people at certain institutions. Because you may be thinking it's the entire institution fighting you, and yet it's individuals. So I went to the minister. He was very shocked with a lot of things that were going on. Went to see the other PS again, totally shocked as well. He called in the chief registrar. We sat, where's the NDC file? You know, and I remember even saying, every time we come here, by the way, documents have been missing in our file. You go there, half the documents have gone missing.
Wow.
So you go back, you start now, what is it, photocopying? You photocopy to go and populate the file. Yes, but then you go back for another thing, something, again, it goes missing. So I even told the PSU that you'll see by the time you're going to see the files, a lot of things will be missing. So the chief registrar went to get our file, brought it back. He looked at it, but this is volume 3. Where's volume 1 and 2? And I was like, this is what I meant. And then no, sir, why you're talking too much? I was like, I said it, you know. But thank God she went back, brought the so-called volume 1, looked at things and everything. And I was like, sometimes even people may say, you know, the public, oh, who's NDC, who's what? There's a file from the beginning to this. And the other thing, by the way, which I forgot to say was that when we did the online returns, we did discover that the Registrar of Societies had changed the list of office bearers for NDC. Okay?
Are you among them?
Not yet. I'm supposed to be, no, not yet. Because they were telling us that they cannot change because we're still in court. Can you imagine that? That's what they were telling us, that we cannot change because we're in court. Then we do our annual returns, we find that they had changed. even people that we had removed from our list, because there are two people, like there's a man called Mr. Kingston and Mrs. Maleta, who had removed to make space for Mr. Akafumba and Mrs. Bridget Atanga. They removed Mrs. Atanga, but left Mr. Akafumba there, who is a civil servant. So we're like, look at all these irregularities. Why is Mr. Akafumba still appearing on the NDC list? And by the way, me as president of the party, my vice and everybody, we gave them a list of 4 people that they should have replaced certain names with. Why haven't you say that we can't, our names can't be put here yet? Okay, they even wrote a letter to us to say we have met the conditions to have everything changed and everything, but they can't change because of the case in matter in court, yeah? Which is just an excuse anyway. So now we found that they had changed, and we're like, but why did you change? You've been saying that you can't put names because of this, what is going on. You get the point? Yes. Yeah. And so that is now the issue where we said, here we're going to go to anti-corruption. But before we went, that's now the time that we just thought, okay, before we do this, maybe the action may be too much in case other people don't know. That's the time now we put the minister and the other PS just to go talk about the matter, you know, and for real, like we discovered, these others did not know. So when we went there now, the other PS and now the Chief Registrar of Societies had our file, and we started now from the time NDC was registered. Started going, okay, when it was registered, these were the names, here. How did these people come to be here? How did these people come in and then all those things? So to cut the long story short, anyway, the matter was resolved. You get the point?
Interesting, and someone wants to talk to us there.
Interesting views. In case you are just joining us, we are in conversation with the NDC. As you can see, the orange is popping. Excited. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
I think we lost that caller. You can keep trying to call and put in your contributions insofar as the NDC is concerned.
So, I want to give you a question, rather, Madam Sawoi. I want to pose this question to you. We understand that we've been following your political lifestyle. You've been in UPND, and later on you had gone to the NDC, and you also now you also support the PF, for instance, when they are by-elections and everything. You have that sympathetic approach to the PF. But do you at any time regret that you should have just remained in UPND because you were part of the UPND? Because now they are in government, probably would have been in government, and our Minister of Gender and probably the Minister of Gender wouldn't have been.
maybe it was the slot kept for you. Now that you are no longer with them, they decided to dissolve it. Yes, no one's suitable for it.
No, I'll be very honest with you. No, I don't regret, not even one day. Okay, I don't regret. And I'll tell you one thing, it's only because our Zambian politics are all about the ruling party. So people gauge their success based on the ruling party. You know, politics is not supposed to be like that. You get the point. For me, as a political scientist by profession, I love politics to the core. You get the point. I would be very happy even being in opposition for the rest of my life, you know. Sometimes when I talk to people and I'm like, I've been in opposition all my life, others even laugh and, you get the point. You need to make certain decisions and do this and do that. But for me, really, that's how much I love politics. Because even the PF would tell you, I was said by the MMD, by the way, there are certain positions I would have taken from the MMD which I refused. I was like, no, I'm too young, I don't want to do this and to do that. I don't want my career to go this direction. PF all the time, they would want me to get into government or get certain positions I didn't want. UPND as well. So I don't really, for me, it's not about that. You know, even now, if I wanted a position in the UPND, trust me, I would get it. You know, because there are certain things and works that people do for parties about which people don't forget. Are you getting the point? You know, I'm sure people, we have seen people complaining in terms of the UPND. No, where are these people that they're appointing coming from? It's because you don't understand where the UPND is coming from. Are you getting the point? Yes. For me, most of the people being appointed, I know them. And these are the people I worked closely with. You get the point? These are the people, even the whole president himself, I can call him and just remind him 2 things. And trust me, he would appoint me by tomorrow. You know, but it's not about the jobs and everything. It's about your own journey. We do have our own journeys in this life, you know. And like they say, politics is about positions. Forget the money. You know, forget the money. It's in Zambia where we put so much emphasis on money when it comes out to politics, But politics is about positions. If I was in UPND, I wouldn't be president. Are you getting the point? So for me, I think I've achieved more by being in NDC than if I ever was in UPND. In UPND, I would be, I would be subject to people's opinions about me. Are you getting the point? I would be subject to certain things, certain processes and whatever. In NDC, because I head the party, I'm the one that has to make certain decisions. So that's what politics is all about. I've been able to emerge to the highest position in a political party. So that's the biggest achievement that somebody, you know, can get, you know. So at the end of the day, like I said earlier on, when it comes to politics, people don't understand that politics is about power. And for me, without even going for, when I joined the NDC, I just went to say, okay, I want a party, you know. And by the way, when I joined the NDC, it was even one of the decisions that I made. Because as I was leaving, the PF wanted me at that time. You know, they wanted me badly, would have meetings and everything. I was have certain meetings at State House. Mr. Kaiser would call me, we want you in the party, you know. I'm giving you names. Mrs. Jane Kapata would call me. This was the elections, the chairperson of the PF, you know, Mr. Honorable Campion. All these people, they would call me. You know, we want you in the party. Sunday Chan was always on me. To him, at some point, even thought, like, maybe she hates the PF so much. You get the point? So they even told me to say, well, okay, we won't give you a job as PF. You can just give you something else, but in government, but not as, you know, so... Sorry that I had to go that deep, but just to show you what it meant and what I had to refuse.
Quite an interesting part, you know. And I want to pose another serious question. And I've interacted with also leaders who have aspired, especially female leaders who are aspiring to govern the nation or contribute in the political fraternity. The challenge that I've also encountered, I've also interacted with the madam. The president for the Heritage Party, Sharagateka, where she has also indicated that financial support has been a major barrier, especially for women participation in politics, where you'd find that they have to spending almost a lot from their personal commitment, and sometimes it just chokes them. Like Madam Kateka indicated to me that at some point she had to sell her farm and to finance our campaigns and everything, but there are no other support. There's no support even from the government, because our constitution for now does not provide for that. From the government, even from other cooperating partners, she had not gotten support. So how are you trying to overcome that? Because you are among the few leaders that are going to be probably on the ballot come 2026.
Well, first and foremost, how we are trying to overcome that is by writing our proposals and everything. You know, we have started that. I remember before the 2021 elections, we couldn't do much because we had not yet finalized the manifesto, and then we are reviewing the constitution, and these are the things that you need to take to the donors and everything. And we sat and we changed a lot of things. NDC right now, I can boast of the fact that it has one of the best constitutions in the country. It has got one of the best manifestos in the country. So now we are ready. You get the point? Yeah, so right now we have already started. There are people that we've been talking to, you know, and after that, there are many proposals that will be flashed around to many stakeholders. So with that, we would definitely be in a certain direction, moving in a certain direction. And the other thing also that we are prioritizing right now in NDC is the issue of fundraising from within our own selves. You know, and I've been very, very vocal within the party structures to say, if you don't contribute yourselves, no one is going to do that. You know, so we have to start from here. You contribute. Are you getting the point? First of all, the central committee members, provincial staff, everyone contribute. You have to contribute. And I've been telling them to say, if you look at the UPND, that's one of the best advantages of the UPND. UPND has the so-called most, the richest man in the country.
Okay, just hold your thought there. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. Wow.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Angoti calling from the Pompa Belt.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning, Madam Savoy.
Good morning, how are you?
Okay. Madam, this time my government to the house. What respect is the house with regard to government duties? Whether you are politics or why, like, are we getting back to compensation?
Come again with your question?
I think that this time the government to the house. Once you do the house, after you start money, money to build the house, and to build the house to that. Are we getting enough stock?
Okay, you got it? Yeah, got it. Okay. All right. The president will respond to that.
Okay, he's talking about these days you can't even build a house. If you build a house, the government comes back and gets it.
Okay.
Yeah, then he's saying, are we getting back to counter times, you know? Yeah, I mean, that is so sad, you know. A country needs to have rich people, you know. Of course, they have to do their duty to ensure that people that get money dubiously are investigated, and the due process of the law should take its course. So we need to be mindful in terms of what exactly is against the law and what is, you know, citizens' intimidation, you know. But as a country, you need to be comfortable with rich people. You know, if people get monies in the right way, and they're able to do certain things, let them be. I think there was that person that we saw, is it from the Copper Belt or here? That guy, he has a lot of money, then all of a sudden we saw that he was being caught by the Anti-Corruption Commission. No, you can't have that, you know. A few other people who are not maybe in politics and everything we have seen. One female journalist here again, you know, was being called for that anti-corruption. Okay, where are you getting your money from and everything? No, it shouldn't be like that, you know. So at the end of the day, we should be comfortable. The reasons why other countries are rich is because they've invested in their own citizens. It's because citizens are rich. As long as Zambians are not rich, then this country won't be rich. So I do certainly agree with you. You know, we can't go back to the counter days where when you buy a TV, you can even be beaten for that. You know, can be beaten just for owning a TV, for owning that. You would not buy a house. A friend of mine used to tell me that the father, in fact, the father was one of the top officials in this country. I can't say the post because you may know the person I'm talking about. Yeah, but the father was one of like the top officials in this government officials in the counter era. And it had to take the mother to say, if you don't buy a house, I'm going to divorce you. You know, the power of women. Yes. If you don't buy a house, I'll divorce you. You need to buy a house. I was so scared. And the man ended up buying a house. So it's saying, she was saying, if we had not done, if my mother had not gone that direction, we could have come out of government even without a house, despite the highest level that he served in the country. You know, and for me also, sadly, it's one of the reasons which led to so much corruption later on in the successive governments, because they looked at how impoverished their other leaders were, so they're like, we don't want to get back there. You know, so there just has to be that balance.
Interesting. And quite Robert, before we interrupted you, we were responding to that financing of your
financing parties. Yes. Yeah, so I was saying that UPND has got the so-called richest man in the country, but trust me, they know how to fundraise. When they have a project, they have something to do in the political party, they really fundraise. And for me also as a person, that's one of my biggest strengths that I had in the party. I'd be like, no, can you do this? You know, every time when leaders were arrested, people would be concerned if it's maybe the president arrested or ever, but if it's ordinary members like the cadres, people would not do that. And I was one of those people that would come out and say, can we please fundraise for this one? Their wife is this, the children have to go to school. You know, no wonder I said for me, if I wanted even a job from the UPND, I would just mention one or two things that I was doing in the party and I'd get it, but I don't want that. You know, so we would fundraise like that. You know, there are some children in the UPND, people that belong to UPND cadres that I'm still taking to school up to now, by the way. That is how bad or how good it is, you know. Sometimes I even joke with them. There's one father I like to say, hey, when we're party, so madam, you know,
you're still hoping.
Yes, yeah, I know. So that's the situation. So it's a situation whereby, despite knowing that your leader has got this, a party has got this, because it may interest you to know that all political parties, when you have a member of parliament, they contribute to the party. And I remember by the time I was leaving the UPND, all members of parliament were paying 4,000 kwacha to the party. And at 48 MPs, I think the party was making about, let's say, I think it was about 280,000 per month just from the MPs. You get the point? So the party had money. But when you want to do programs, you fundraise for yourselves. Are you getting the point? They won't tell you, oh, can you do this, can you do that? No, you have to fundraise. So this is the kind of spirit I've been trying to inculcate even in the NDC, to say, even in a party with the richest man in the country, trust me, the way we run, we used to run things in the UPND, it was like this. You would never, ever get things and they do. No, you do them yourselves. You know, so people need to come to that before anyone else gives you money,
you need to get organized yourselves.
Exactly.
All right.
Then we're talking about the 10-month reflection. We cannot do away with these topical issues. The monthly review of fuel prices. We also talk about the escalating cost of living. These are among major pronouncements in terms of the UPND manifesto as well as their campaign pledges. Just your take on that. Have you done an assessment on that?
Repeat the question again, sorry.
The monthly review of fuel prices, and we have also seen that the price sometimes fluctuates up and and sometimes it also tends to affect the bus fares and other commodity prices. Then we look at the cost of living. Is it being dealt with adequately by the UPND? Because then those are the major issues that we are campaigning for when they were in opposition.
Well, certainly not. And for me also, I don't even know who gave the UPND this idea that they should have these monthly reviews. I think it's one of the worst things that they've ever done, you know. Anybody knows that for you to plan, especially at a business level, you need many months. You can't plan within a month, you know. These monthly reviews, it's more like telling people to only be budgeting and planning just a monthly. You get the point. They can't go beyond that. You know, in terms of prices, the way they fluctuate, it makes the whole business environment to be so unstable, you know. The sad part is this: every time the prices go up, everything just goes up exponentially, you know. But when they come down, they don't come down again. I get the point. Yes, they don't come down. So going up, they're very quick. Even oil, gas, for example, it will be there. When it goes up, within 24 hours, everything goes up. But when things come down, they say, no, we're still gauging how much it will be, because if we reduce by next month, things are going to be like this. Then this gas that we're selling now, we bought it at this amount. Are you getting the point? But when there's a reduction, they won't say that this is a gas that we bought at this amount. They'll claim to say, we bought the gas expensively. But when there's an increase, they won't say that we ordered it at a cheap price, so we maintain the price. No, they'll do it within 24 hours. So at the end of the day, they're affecting the entire business environment and just people at a personal level, because look at the way prices are going up. Food is so expensive in this country. Transportation, everything, you know. So that even when you talk about good things like which they've done, like free education, yeah, you look at how much somebody was spending in a month. You know, the JCTR has already brought out, they brought out the food basket for last month. It moved from 7,000 under the PF to 9,000, you know, just within a period of 6 to 9 months. That's too much. A 2,000 kwacha is too much, especially when people's salaries have remained the same. So the food basket is like that. Then talk about their rent.
And that's for a family of 5.
For a family of 5, exactly.
And
you know?
in this compound, people live a minimum of 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So it's really not okay. The oil it's a mess, you know, in terms of them controlling the livelihoods of the people, and they're doing a bad job, really. And for me, even as a person who's NDC, I don't support the UPND. It's one of the things that I actually thought they'll do well, you know, because in politics, we talk about people's, let me say, negatives, you know, yeah, mostly when maybe you're in public and everything you're talking, because when you talk about the positives, you can be accused to say,
they want to defect.
Exactly, you know what I mean? What is the situation? So most times you talk about all these things where you differ and everything, but the truth of the matter is this. In terms of advantages and where I thought the UPND would score was issues to do with the economy. On that one, I was like 100% sure. I was like, whatever happens, on this one and that one and that one, I knew that. But I think I'm one of the most disappointed people. It just doesn't make sense that we're in the UPND-led government, and this is what is going on right now.
And what was making you think that they would do best? They
will do better. What made you so sure?
Because I know President HH at a personal level, and I know what he stands for. You know, I know his passion for the economy to do well. You know, for government to be run prudently. I know his passion for that.
Don't you think it's work in progress?
I don't think so. Sometimes I even think that. I look at him as has this man been captured or what? You know, there's normally political parties and political party leaders are normally captured. So sometimes I look at him and I'm like, I think this man has been captured. You know, because I just don't understand. To be honest with you, I really, really don't understand what is going on, because I really expected more. Even the issue to do with agriculture, him being a farmer and the good farmer that he is, I expected so much more. You know, I truly expected so much more. There's a time, if you remember, when the MMD started the winter maize, you know, which they failed to implement properly, but they had gotten it from the UPND manifesto. Are you getting the point? Because UPND has all these farmers and everything, so you expect, okay, this is something
that will 10-point plan.
That will come natural, you know, to UPND. Issues of gender, trust me. I knew it's UPND's weakness. I think I've been on many interviews where I've said they're weak in gender. They are weak in gender. Even when I was there internally, I would really criticize the political party. There was a time when UPND, by 2016, even gender was not mentioned in the Constitution and manifesto. And I was very upset about that. I was one of those people that would come out strongly and like, we need to do this. And I remember by then Honorable Masebo coming up with a committee and put, no, Savoy should lead this because of ABCD, you know, because that's how strong I was in the party. When it came to policies, you know, there would be certain things that would be happening in Parliament. And then the MPs would come together, oh, they're trying to do this. I remember even the policy for sexual harassment. I read the law, when you propose a woman twice, it's sexual harassment. You know, what kind of sexual harassment are you talking about? You know, and it was in the MPs, you know.
Patrick wouldn't have his woman at the moment because he pursued for months.
Imagine. Yeah. And when you follow Parliament, the only time that you see parliamentarians coming together as one is when they have women issues to deal with. The men, they don't care. This one is opposition. They come together. So I remember the sexual harassment policy. This law, you just have to propose a woman once. You propose her twice, it's sexual. I was like, there's no such sexual harassment. And I remember Honorable Masebo, even that time, I was just the late Request Muntanga and Honorable Belemu. So, oh no, come to Parliament to do this. I went to Parliament and spoke to the male MPs and everything. And I finally, at least we came to a conclusion to say, okay, we're going to support the bill. Because they just totally refused. There was all that, there was all that propaganda. Sexual harassment. So
they didn't want to be found on the other side of the law. As we conclude this interview, as the NDC, are you willing to provide guidance on how the country should head towards development for the UPND?
Yeah, certainly we are willing to do that because just to do with the last question that we talked about, with the UPND, we are so disappointed with the economy because looking at the president himself and what the UPND stands for in terms of agriculture and everything, we expected better. As NDC, you even know that if Savoy came into power, if I did anything wrong with women and gender, it'd be like, okay, this is the biggest disappointment ever. Are you getting the point? Yes. So with UPND in terms of guidance and how they should go, number one, the economy, you know, they should really work on the economy. It's the one thing that brought them into government anyway, you know. People say the economy is so bad, we need things to improve. And because of that, they were voted into office. So they need to do something about that. Issues to do with gender, you know. Gender is not just a political thing. It's not just something that we talk about because we feel good talking about women and men. No, it has proven that where you have this balance of women and men, countries have developed. All countries where there's that balance, there's good development, you know. So we need that because we have different perspectives in terms of how we look at things as men and women. So with that, when you bring those things to the table, you find that things are better. Maybe the men would concentrate on the economy, the women would concentrate on social issues. Once you have that, because for people to develop, you need both social and economic indicators to go a certain way. You know, so the UPND have to be serious in terms of the social sector, they have to be serious in terms of the economic sector, they have to be serious in terms of everything that is going on in the country right now, because right now, trust me, things are not okay. And we've been saying that for them to run this country properly, number one, they have to revolutionize agriculture. Okay? There's no way that the mainstay activity of the economy is in such shambles. We saw just when they came into power that even just buying sacks of midi meal, they couldn't do that. And it's one of the reasons why they lost those elections in Eastern Province. Because people are like, how does it get to this that we don't even have sacks to put our products? And things went bad. You know, and at a time whereby we've got so much market within the Southern African region, Congo, this side, Zimbabwe, we can be selling so much, you know, but we always have to even ban the export of agriculture and maize bran because we don't have enough, and then we've got so much land and so much water. So the UPND, number one, they need to make sure that agriculture changes in this country. Just when they change agriculture, a lot of things are going to change because I believe that agriculture is the new gold. You know, then the issues to do with gender issues, like I've said, women think differently, they bring different things to the table, let them do that. Youth empowerment, you know, for me, I even go further and say talent, be it sports, be it music, be it acting, be it whatever, let them also have a plan for that. They seem not to have a plan for anything, you know. And for me also one thing I've seen is that the way the president is slow also, even his entire team are very slow. I don't know if they're scared to do things. I don't know if they've been told not to do things. I don't know if they just don't have money. I don't know. But let them start. Development is not a one-day process. No. It starts. It's a, you know, it's a journey. But let us start, you know. No, let them start and then we'll get to where we're supposed to go.
Your concluding remarks probably in under a minute, and you can also bring in the issue of 10 witnesses that you promised Zambians over Obed Kasongo's death yesterday. You had a press. Press
certainly. No, we'll do that. We shall certainly do it. We have a lot of witnesses. And by the way, just after that press conference yesterday, somebody contacted me this morning, and they were like, "Thank you so much for talking about this issue, because that's the assault issue which is happening in Luansha right now. Witnesses are being intimidated." And they told me to say there are 20 witnesses for that particular case, because Mr. Musukwa, who was the most injured during that election, he sued for unlawful wounding. So he's appearing in court. And I'd like to urge the media also to take keen interest in this. The matter will be appearing on the 20th of June this month. And this month it will be the doctors who are testifying in that matter. So even the people that have sued for unlawful wounding, the person that they mention is Honorable Sambo. That is the person that beat them up. You know, so like I've said, the witnesses right now are being intimidated. So let me take this opportunity right now to tell the people that are intimidating the witnesses that have been given your names and what you're telling the witnesses. The next time I have a press conference, I'm going to mention your names and what you're doing to the witnesses. You know, and the media, like I've said, please take a keen interest. There are a lot of powerful people involved in this case that don't want justice to be served. You know, but I'm happy that the people that were injured have said we want justice for what was done to us. So with that, I think they need support from all of us.
Okay.
Thank you for gracing our screens, Madam Savoy, for always making an appearance whenever we call on you. We hope it is not the last.
Certainly not. I'll be here.
Interesting.
To the viewers out there, thank you so much for choosing Camnet TV. Join us again tomorrow for yet another exciting edition of The Breakfast Show. Good morning.